Jesus. Christ. What was that?
I'm just big.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Untitled podcast.
There you go.
Because we can't agree on one.
Well,
as we know, we are your lovely hosts. My name is Bryson. This is Zach Randolph.
yeah, that's about it. What's your last name, buddy?
I
You
don't-
want to throw mine out there, huh? What if I want to get doxxed?
He lives at this place.
Something to do with
He lives
jokes.
at this place.
I like living in Dixon.
Well, we're officially back after another lovely hiatus. Everybody loves those, I know.
Can you define the word hiatus?
It's like not doing an activity for an extended amount of time.
Do you happen to know how long it's been, this hiatus of ours?
I could look. I mean,
It's been about 2 years.
No, there's no way. Because we did, I think the last one I did was here.
Don't bring his name up. Don't say his name.
I will.
We're gonna have to call him later. You know that, right?
We could.
I haven't told him yet.
That we're doing this?
Well, I haven't told him that. Well, I mean,
Oh, the other news.
the other news.
Yeah, we could call him. He'd probably be okay with being on the podcast again.
Probably. I wonder if he's at work. Doesn't he work at a coffee shop?
Yeah, he is. He's working at a
He's-
coffee shop.
Is he one of those, like, brand deals, like Starbucks?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he said Starbucks.
No, he said it wasn't.
Oh.
He said it wasn't.
I don't think he'll pick up if I like Aiden.
It's been a long time since we've made a podcast, and we've decided to
Break up.
yeah, we're breaking up. Christ, I thought I'd fixed the gain, but Jesus, that was not ideal. It's been a long time since the last podcast, and a lot has happened. As of 9 days ago, I graduated from Lee University.
And tell him what's your degree, sir, young man.
I got a Bachelor of Science in Music Business with an emphasis in piano.
Science?
Mm-hmm.
What is that? We don't do that here.
I guess. They,
I guess.
well, so, like, they don't count, I think music business is a Bachelor of Science because, like, technically I don't take some of the required classes for a Bachelor of Arts.
Embarrassing.
I know.
Couldn't be me.
And because of said graduation...
Yes.
You want some?
Yeah.
Because of said graduation...
It's going to be real crispy. I just don't want you to say it.
After 4 years of living together, we're moving on.
It had to be done.
It did. And we're...
2 worlds, 1 family. Trust your heart. Where's the next words?
Is that the I will be there, don't you cry.
It's like 2 worlds, 1 family. Trust your heart. Let fate decide to guide these lives we see. That's the ending song. And then Tarzan goes,
No. That's still so loud.
that's basically how it goes.
Mm.
I hope that...
That's not You'll Be in My Heart, is it, though?
No. You'll be in my heart.
That's a good song.
Incredible soundtrack.
It is. Phil Collins did not have to go that hard, but he really did.
Phil Collins is a legend.
Mm-hmm.
Continue what you were saying before I interrupted you with Disney songs.
No, I'm here for it. So, because of said graduation, we're going our separate ways for now. This does not mean that, we're not going to be friends, or that we're not going to talk to each other because...
No, low-key, I hated this guy the entire 4 years. Holy crap. But hey, you know what? The only good thing that happened out of all of this is we're starting a podcast on a regular occasion because of it.
That's right. So we're not breaking up in terms of never talking to each other again. We decided that
We'll remain HLBs.
it's true, which may end up being the tentative title again. If you're looking at it right now, it's probably still labeled as Hey Look a Podcast. I kind of like the acronym for that, the HLAP one, because
I actually like that.
I kind of like that. So
Let's just make it all acronyms.
all
HLAP,
acronyms.
THLP.
HLAP with the HLPs.
Yeah, there you go. HLAP.
H.L.A.P with the HLPs. So
Never say what it means.
Nope, we never will.
Sorry, guys.
Or they might have to dig to get to this episode to find out what it means. Like we explain it once and we'll never explain it again.
I don't want to explain it. I like the ambiguity. Also, okay. I don't want people thinking I'm.
Well, I mean.
Censored. I'm just kidding. I didn't say anything.
So we decided that it would be actually, and honestly, I do think it's a good idea. For us, it's a good way for us to be able to stay in touch. To continue the podcast on a regular basis this time, not every year and a half or whatever we decided to do before. And the bonus of doing this regularly is that I've been watching too much Sopranos. I got too much New York in me now.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's cultural appropriation.
For all I know, it could be my heritage. My parents wouldn't buy the freaking Ancestry DNA. They were like, we don't want him to know. For all we know, I'm a Greek god.
I could have said something really bad there, but I chose to hold my tongue.
I'm so proud of you.
I think that is the most valuable thing I got out of my time at Lee University.
Is learning how to hold your tongue?
Yes.
What was I saying?
For some more ad reads.
I wish. Hey, if you want to sponsor this podcast, it's going to be regular now. So please sponsor us. I'm wearing a Dr. Pepper shirt as we speak. He's wearing a shirt from a band that is a part of the Bad Christian label.
Give me your Bad Christian merch.
It'd be great.
I'm a pretty bad Christian.
We both are.
That's the joke. That's what it means.
We have a buddy who mixes for you.
Seth.
I was on the phone with him today.
What a god.
He's a good guy.
Yep.
So, we're going to be doing this regularly, and that's an exciting thing because it kind of opens up a lot of possibilities. Number one, it opens up the possibility to put this on other platforms, which would be kind of cool.
I'm pumping my arm in joy.
He's pumping his fist.
To support.
So much support is coming from this side of the couch right now. So, we're going to be doing this regularly, and with that comes the possibility of new platforms, comes the possibility of other guests that we could bring in, especially since post-COVID, a lot of people have some form of a setup to where they can be recorded via Zoom or other programs. And
we're actually recording this on like a hybrid setup right now. We got his laptop and my
USB mic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Needless to say,
with USB mics?
No.
Okay.
I'm just stating what it is. It's a USB microphone versus
Blue Yeti. If you'd like to sponsor us, email me.
We know you've been the standard for people recording for like 10 years at this point.
Call me, please.
So the next episode may sound a little different, maybe formatted a little different, but bear with us as we get used to the new normal. This is our last episode on this couch, most likely.
No, that's not true at all, because I'm taking the couch to my place.
Well, that's true.
And it better not be.
Well, I mean...
Exactly, yep.
If we're recording...
No clarification needed. All right, next topic.
Most likely it's not the last one on this couch. Hopefully not in the last one in person. And I think as we get more into a flow, regularly doing this, talking to a microphone, knowing we're being recorded, that kind of a thing, things will get a little bit easier. And then, doing ones in person won't be as weird. And also, we may find that doing it in person is worse.
Yeah, dude, I don't.
Or I mean, if doing it via recorded, you know what I mean.
I don't understand how anyone could be like 10 feet within me and not like burn up.
10 feet within you.
You've been doing good, champ, for like 4 years. So
yeah,
good job.
I've been a real champion. But doing this via remote access works out because then we could get our third occasional host on with us. If we are able to work with his schedule.
And our third additional guest is...
Oh, Aiden.
I meant for them, but yes.
Well, I mean, yes.
What about our fourth guest?
My brother?
A young man.
With long hair.
A fellow sir.
Well, we definitely have to coordinate with his schedule.
A Josephus.
He's 4 hours behind us.
That's okay. I play League with a kid from California every night.
Yeah, but you're also up at 3 a.m. doing that.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Ain't nothing but a thing.
So... what we're trying to say is look forward to the future. We're doing big things. For those of you that are curious, or for those of you that are just getting into listening to this, or maybe you're going down a binge listen to this podcast.
I want to ask why.
First off, why? Why would you want to listen to us talk? Unless maybe that's your thing. I don't know.
Call me.
Please.
I'm desperate.
He is, in fact, can confirm, as am I, for companionship.
Honestly, I've gotten very at home being by myself. I'm comfortable. You have to be comfortable with yourself before you do anything else.
In the words of
Thumbs up.
the bass player from Love Handle, you have to be comfortable in your own skin.
Love Handle. Getting the game back together. I don't remember the song.
Which one?
I ain't got no rhythm.
That's the drummer, yo. I ain't got rhythm.
I don't know how to tell you, man! Or something like that. It's been years.
But, for the two of you that are listening right now, or maybe the millions later on, if there's something you guys want us to talk about or you're curious to hear us weigh in on, we do have very valid opinions. So leave it in the comments below.
Valid?
Yeah. I have a degree now, so I can say things with the utmost certainty.
And listen, I got some hot takes.
He does.
I'm like the most neutral person ever. Come on now.
It's not true, necessarily.
I'm not very neutral.
You are, but like...
I'm like olive oil. I'm a very neutral...
neutral base.
Flavor.
What was I going to say?
Sorry, I keep them.
No, you're good. No, that's the whole point. Oh, yeah. So, we have a bunch of different passions between us, and doing this regularly allows us to talk about a bunch of different things. So I'm going to try...
It's a variety show.
Yeah, and I think eventually I'm going to try and streamline a bit and have some sort of topic list, maybe a current event.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe have like some notes.
A current event to discuss, whether that be in our lives or just in the general world.
Sure. I like the freeform style.
For sure, but also I think something to kind of tie us to whatever time it is. So like today is August 9th, 2021.
Let's see. What's happened today?
It's Anna Kendrick's birthday. We could talk about...
Trevor Moore.
Let's talk about that. Let's take a moment here.
Okay.
So for those of you who maybe didn't grow up in the generation that we did of the internet, there was I think they were on TV for a while, right?
Okay, so I watched them on Comedy Central before. I saw the sketch and then I went through and watched all of their series. So it's WKUK, Whitest Kids You Know. It's a comedy sketch group, and it was headed up by like Trevor Moore, Zach. I don't remember all their names. I'll pull them up while I talk. But they were really raunchy, really controversial, and very funny.
Very funny. I can distinctly remember an age where
2007.
Gosh, that was right when YouTube was made.
Yeah, it wasn't on Comedy Central. It was on IFC and Fuse.
IFC.
All right. Cast members include Trevor Moore, Zach Kreger, Sam Brown, Darren Trementer, and Timmy Williams. And it leaves no comedy taboo unexplored.
It's true.
It's very true. It's a very edgy show.
And at the time, being edgy was like actually edgy.
And they killed it, I'll say.
They were very funny.
Unfortunately, Trevor Moore passed away last
recently.
night at 41. And dude, WKUK was huge for us.
It really was.
Like,
I don't really know how to explain how big the surge of the internet really was for our 8-9-year-old minds, but I remember...
I was 7, let's see.
I distinctly remember...
I was 11.
The first time I saw the Classroom skit. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Dude, okay, listen.
That, the Abe Lincoln...
Abe Lincoln's the classic one. Everybody loves the Abe Lincoln one. Some of his stuff has not aged very well.
I will say in today's current social climate, not
necessarily that, but it's like some of them just aren't funny anymore to me.
Well, there's that, but I just think also in general. They had a sketch that's was very controversial in its time.
How about the Grapist?
The Grapist. Let me explain this premise to you, audience, if you will. Picture, if you will, an ad pitching meeting where they're discussing things about a commercial, and this guy...
They're going to show it off for the first time.
They're going to show it off for the execs and things like that to kind of test it out, and it's this man in a grape suit talking about how I think they're advertising for a juice box company.
Yep, it's grape juice.
And
he's going to grape them in the mouth.
He's going to tie them to the radiator and grape them in the mouth for decades and decades.
He plows through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man.
He does.
And he's screaming, and children are screaming, and it's very scary.
but at the time it was like funny because haha, you can joke about crazy things. Looking back,
my day.
Well, I just mean also the outrageous was funny, especially that age.
The reaction of the execs. My favorite cast member besides Trevor. Trevor's amazing. He was hilarious. He was one of the driving force. He played like every outlandish like straight man character.
Did he play the Abe Lincoln?
Yes. Well, no,
I can't remember who played.
No,
Abe.
he's John Wilkes Booth in Abe Lincoln.
Oh right.
But he's like the straight man while also being the like outrageous.
He was
character.
the writer, and he was so good.
So he was presenting this, and my other favorite, not just because I share a name with him, but Zach Kreger is the exec in this situation.
He was funny,
and he's just his reaction is everything. He's like, he's gonna what? Yeah, he's
actually
great.
You know what's funny?
And he's
if you look up WKUK right now, the first one listed is the grapist.
I know, it's the most popular, and it's like, yeah, she's got a grape whistle. A grape whistle? It's so good. You can't forget Timmy though.
Timmy.
Yeah, dude, he was just the.
You messed up.
He just looked really young, had a very high pitched voice, and was slightly overweight. And he was just the punching bag young. So they would dress up. Like, they did these skits. They went out. Like, they would, like... It was, like, kind of old school theater-esque in a way.
Yeah.
They created these characters.
Sometimes.
Yeah. They kind of put on, like, falsetto if they were trying to be women or something. But it's, like... They really, like, went there. Like, and Timmy was always the child. And those are some of my favorites. So the classroom sketch.
The classroom sketch, let's just break that down real quick. So probably one of the earliest examples of it's so bad, but it's so funny.
It's dark humor. That's WKUK. Dark humor.
At its finest, though. I mean, the Lincoln one wasn't really dark humor. It was just kind of to be...
absurd.
It was annoying on purpose, and I think that was a different style of humor at the time. Didn't they have... Correct me if I'm wrong. They had like a COD style sketch where like
He's like all right, left four razor, here he comes, and then it's like, Mom,
yeah,
I don't want a sandwich right now, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm playing COD.
Yeah,
and they're like screaming. There's gunfire and bullets. I'll tell you my favorite here in a second.
Yeah, so I think the classroom sketch probably was my favorite. I know that's easy to say, but man. It was so funny. Everybody in that sketch was like on their A game.
Timmy crying in the background.
So
subtly.
Yeah. So the premise is there's this teacher played by I think it was Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor's in the classroom. It's the thin guy who has the higher pitched voice.
Oh
with
yeah.
glasses.
Let
me look at this guy.
He's playing the teacher, and someone comes into class and delivers this like, and I could be wrong on some of these details, but someone like comes into the class and delivers that someone's mom has just died, and instead of like being sensitive to this, the teacher goes, "So who wants to guess whose mom it was for a piece of candy?" And
everybody, all the kids just look at it. It's like 70% actual children. And then, like, the rest are, like, the cast members.
Who are, like, in their mid-20s.
And they just look at each other horrified for, like, 5 seconds.
Someone raises their hand.
It's Sam Brown, the bigger guy. He's like, was it Jimmy's?
And she's like, no. Good guess, though.
And Jimmy's like,
and they kind of go around. They're like, Billy's mom. And he's like, no, but good guess, though. And then they're like, do you kids need a hint? And they're like, yeah,
word bank.
The word bank's the later one. This one, he's like, do you need a hint? And they're like, yeah. And she'd been drinking.
Oh, no.
And they're like, Timmy's mom. And he just starts crying. And it's that kind of joke, like, for 7 minutes.
And it just keeps going.
It gets worse.
Some of their sketches go on a little too long.
That one didn't. It was perfect.
Who wants to guess how long it took for the Jaws of Life
to get Billy's mom from the car wreck?
I'll tell you my favorite one is the one on gun control.
Oh man,
it's like, so why do you need a?
Isn't that like something about women too in that sketch?
It's horrible. Like I don't know how they predicted like the 2021 political climate so perfectly 11 years ago. But it's like straight up, it's so funny.
I do remember that one, just a lot more vague.
And it ends with probably one of the more shocking jokes. And he's like, it literally, like, okay, so it goes from one outrageous situation. It's like, yeah, I'm hunting bears with my AR-15. It's like, I'm hunting, deer. It's like, so why would you need that? To protect them from the bears. Why are the bears? He's like, because, if a bear could kill a child, and it just keeps going and going until he's talking about, like, needing explosive rounds in his, like, massive deagle, like, Desert Eagle handgun or something. And, okay, and then it's like, all right, the host is like, all right, I'm done, you're insane. And this bear with a baby comes, like, breaks into the studio or something. And Trevor's character is like, I've been waiting my whole life for this. And it's like he's about to attack the host, and he shoots the baby in the head. It's the most outrageously dark, like, it just cuts to black, and it's just like, next sketch.
Yeah.
That's the kind of show WKUK is.
It was pretty crazy, and like we said,
I definitely got some details wrong on that, but
yeah, and like we said, tragically, Trevor passed away yesterday or a couple days ago.
Age of 41.
He will be sorely missed. He was a genius comic writer. He was so funny. He did a bit on This Isn't Happening on Comedy Central a couple of years ago.
I don't know about that one. Tell me about it.
He told a story about how he got, like, stuck in Mexico or something like that. And it's delivered in his typical crazy fashion. If you have never seen WKUK before and you just want a piece of history,
go check out some of their top sketches.
Check out some of the sketches.
YouTube WKUK is the acronym, and there's like a top list of some of the greatest.
And honestly, just Trevor Moore. I believe he was part of other projects later in his life.
They just got back to streaming, and they're filming a movie now.
Yes.
Reportedly, he wrapped up filming on all of his scenes before he passed, and that's gonna be a rough one when we watch it.
It will. It'll be a tough one, but
I will say he's a pretty okay musician too. He had a couple songs on there. He's like, let's go to the old folks' home.
Oh yeah,
get real stoned.
And I will say too, kind of luckily, almost, the internet being what it was, we have that forever. I think that was. I know that the thought a lot of times is like the internet was kind of a bad thing. Oh my god, can you hear those cicadas out there? That means we're gonna have to be on perfect, like, because I can't edit this out now.
Well, listen, no, this means Evangelion Unit 1 is coming.
Yeah.
The Angels.
So
Trevor Moore, this man, okay.
He was great,
let me just brag on WKUK for a second. The range of sketches they had, from like how they shot them, how they like different genre, is crazy.
Even the end of the classroom sketch with the green screen, that was huge.
So like one of the ones that I don't remember like thinking much about, but I recently just saw on the YouTube thumbnail. There's one called Race War, where it's literally just shot out of like one of their apartment windows. It's Trevor Moore on the street. He's like, "Hey Darren!" It's like, "What? We're starting a race war! Come on!" And it's just him gesturing wildly on the street. And it's just like, what? I don't understand. The other big one that comes to mind is him doing the you remember the McDonald's. What's the documentary called? It's like Big Fat Sick and Nearly Dying or something.
Where he like doesn't eat McDonald's. He eats a bunch of McDonald's to gain weight and like.
Yeah, so that's the documentary they're parodying. And then he's like,
which had just come out.
Yeah, so he's like, "Hey, my name's Trevor Moore. I'm about to drink whiskey and only whiskey," and he just gets destroyed by the end of it. And it's like legitimately like in the same style of the movie. It's Trevor Moore, man. Their whole crew is awesome.
A lot of geniuses in the comedy world. And he will be missed. But like I said, we have that material forever.
For better or for worse.
For just honestly, just to experience it, go look up WKUK. Just those letters. And Trevor Moore. Give him a listen. Give him a watch. There's some good stuff up there, especially if you like the style of like the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, or what's the name of not Impractical Jokers. The thing that Adam.
See, I never watched any of those shows. I haven't like this is like the only comedy thing I watched like as a kid. Like I say like as an early teenager.
Yeah.
Gallon of PCP.
If Workaholics, that's what I was trying to think of. If you ever thought of Workaholics, that kind of stuff, go give it a watch. It's very similar, kind of lowbrow guy humor.
Oh yeah, here's the quote. What are you gonna do when the bears come? They're raping your churches, burning your women.
That's what it was. Raping your churches and burning your women. That's a great one.
Yeah. It's literally Counterpoint. I just realized they had the Counterpoint brand in the background 14 years ago. Wow. 1.9 million views.
If only they'd known what they were predicting. But yeah.
Baby skull.
So there's that's our current topic or current event, I guess, for today. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have something a little more hopeful.
Well, listen, we were watching Suicide Squad when we read about it.
Yeah, we were watching Suicide Squad. I guess that's another current thing. The Suicide Squad came out.
We literally didn't talk about it after the movie ended.
We really didn't.
I mean, that's how I felt when I first watched it.
It was a good watch. Actually, I was talking to the guys at work about it today. We were talking pretty extensively about that in DC stuff. So,
like, the only DC movie I watch beyond like Man of Steel, which I think Man of Steel is cool.
I saw it in theaters, really enjoyed it.
I don't understand why people don't like it.
I think Henry Cavill was a tough pick because I think to my remembrance his acting was like kind of it was a topsy-turvy.
I think he was pretty good for it.
I think he was good in that film. I think he did a good job. And also, I mean, I don't think there'd been a main stage like Superman film for a long time.
2008 was Superman Returns with Brandon.
With Brandon, yes, the guy who plays the Atom in The Flash and Green Arrow
and all of the CW shows. He's on like everything.
Yeah, he plays
Brandon Ruth.
Yes, good actor.
He's very charismatic.
Terrible Superman.
No, he was awesome as Superman. He's like the only thing good on that movie.
The film was not good.
Okay, I like that.
He was good.
Listen, that movie held a special place in my heart because I only watched it on the screens at an errands while I waited for 4 hours.
I remember the kryptonite like stabbing scene. It was just like, what?
The bullet in the eye, where it bounces in slow mo off his eye.
Yeah.
Coolest thing. I was like 6.
Doesn't he like he picks up a bus or something?
He picks up a plane, and then he picks up the entire like kryptonite continent and drives it off in the sun.
And Kevin Spacey was freaking Lex Luthor.
I don't think that movie's. I don't know. It's been a hot second.
It's okay.
Now
I also enjoy Batman Forever.
Now I did watch Justice League. I watched Batman vs Superman. I thought that was just
not good.
It was really long, and I barely remember anything about it. I watched the director's cut that everyone says, by the way.
Yeah, I just feel like they were trying to adapt 2 comics at once that did not really go well together.
I mean, they're not adapting anything anymore. They're just obviously taking inspiration. That's how every comic book movie...
Well, but that's how they pitched it at the time.
But who cares?
I mean, they didn't, clearly.
Yeah.
and this is more... Warner Brothers... I don't care if I lose a sponsorship over this. Warner Brothers, you freaking suck. And you need to stop ruining properties because you want money.
Suicide Squad was okay. I'd say it's I think it's better than
I just say for like what happened with Zack Snyder was terrible. You know, he had a family member pass away, and they had to call in
Joss Whedon.
And they called in Joss Whedon and then just basically massacred his script. That's not cool. You don't do that. And then you definitely don't put it out like that when it's unfinished, unrefined.
I still haven't seen it.
And unwritten, basically.
I don't really care to.
I think I should watch the Snyder Cut. I've heard it's better, but you know, I also I can't bring myself to watch Aquaman.
I've heard Aquaman was like one of the better ones. Though.
I can't bring myself to watch the Wonder Woman movies, but
I think the first one's really good.
I've heard the first one's pretty good. The second one is just feminism for like 2 hours.
That's a good criticism, Bryson.
But I mean, that's all there is to it. There's no plot. It's just I am woman.
You're gonna get canceled.
I'm all for women in power and as superheroes. I really am. And my thing too is like you've had what like Xena Warrior Princess, you've had She-Ra, those were female leads and like really strong women. In fact, there's been Power Rangers that are women since the beginning.
I thought you were gonna say Powerpuff Girls. Now let me tell you about
The Powerpuff Girls.
That was my that was my stuff.
You liked the Powerpuff
Dude,
Girls?
I had like 3 sisters. I watched exactly what they watched. Powerpuff Girls was lit. I mean, genuinely good show.
Oh yeah.
But let's see.
Really, really
Back
good.
to Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So I watched it before him, just because I was really bored and I was waiting on him to get back, and it took a while, so I was like, huh, okay. And
that happens occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any lasting impressions about it. That's the weird thing. It's just like I thought it was kind of it was surprisingly heartwarming at times.
Yeah.
You didn't like the song in the climax, but I thought the song was really nice.
It was okay. I just didn't feel like it matched the tone necessarily.
Well, yeah, it flip-flopped into something very genuine for me.
I don't know if it felt genuine to me. It felt kind of tonally just off, but that's just me. But I also think about it from...
I also think it was absurd. Like,
yeah.
Because considering the situation. Which, I mean, I guess spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Spoilers ahead. If you've not seen the movie, please click away or skip ahead. Probably about 5 minutes.
We'll put a time marker
in. You think I'm getting paid enough for that? No way.
Anyways.
So...
Yeah, they're...
In the climax of the film.
So grand scale here. Giant alien starfish and this girl that controls rats is having it eat away. It was disgusting.
Pretty intense. And a crazy visual shot.
It looked decent, yeah.
I will say this for that film, different aspects of it. Number one, I feel like let's talk about what we did enjoy about it first.
That's the thing. I don't have anything I dislike about it.
I'm not saying I inherently dislike, but I think we really liked about it. I think that's some of the best casting that I've seen in a DC film in a while.
It's hard,
even though there were characters that were only on screen for 4 minutes.
I don't think so for the nature of the movie, it's like they're all Z-list villains that nobody gives a shit about, and it's like
except for Harley and
which mean they already nailed that casting anyways. So it's like they could really put whatever, like they did with the rat catcher chick.
Yes, so she's
they could do whatever.
She's a relatively unknown actress. Very good.
Yeah, dude, she killed it.
She did a great job.
I was tearing up.
She plays a girl from Portugal, who is the
surprising, heartfelt member of the team.
She's the successor to the original rat catcher, who in this film is played by Taika Waititi, who's an amazing actor.
He kind of bring the heat in. Like that flashback got me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's really good, and he's a great writer, a great director.
That quote at the end, that
with they were sitting on the rooftop.
That got me.
So she is.
Oh, okay. You know what? Maybe I did enjoy that movie a little more.
She's kind of honoring her dad's legacy and things by doing that, but somehow she's ended up in villainy as well, which is the kind of dichotomy about Suicide Squad. Idris Elba plays Bloodsport, and
he's a dick.
Well, he's a terrible guy, but
you kind of missed the conversation with him and his daughter, but it was like they were totally like making fun of the first movie throughout that entire opening.
I heard most of it.
Well, it's like they sit down Will Smith with his daughter, and it's like this like heartfelt like kind of thing. And then
Deadshot's whole motivation is his daughter, like even in comics.
Yeah, I'm just saying you didn't see the movie. I'm just saying like they 1 for 1.
Oh yeah, that's
like
funny.
No, it's.
But Idris Elba is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
Another great film that he just crushed. And I agree.
He was very funny, very casual.
I mean, he was funny, but
he was very casual.
He could also deliver that dialogue pretty strongly.
I just didn't expect it to be so casual because I haven't seen him in much beyond
serious roles.
Thor.
I've
seen him in Luther. I've seen him in The Office.
Yeah, and The Office is super straight, but it's comedic too.
Yeah. He's very casual.
Yeah, Margot Robbie was a great Harley Quinn. I think she's probably, in my opinion, I think she's still refining the character a little bit.
She's the only DC universe character that's been consistent for this entire time.
Yeah.
So they're about to switch Superman out. They switched Batman out.
Cavill's gone.
Yeah, Cavill's right.
I don't know.
He's definitely right.
I don't know.
I've heard
Pattinson is Batman now.
Who knows at this point?
Well, they've already filmed it.
Yeah, I know, but is it a Joker thing?
Are you saying it is a DCAU video or?
No, I'm talking about the. It's Joker isn't part of the main thing.
Oh.
Which I still haven't seen that.
Oh, you mean Joaquin Phoenix's Joker?
Yeah.
Which, if you've never seen that, oh my God, go watch it.
I want to see Shazam.
We can watch it.
I guess
it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
You know, I think the thing with the DC films is it's just, in my personal opinion, they're never going to top what they did with the animated shows.
You know, I was literally thinking that exact same thing. They can't top. First of all,
they'll never top Batman and Superman, the animated series. But both of those.
The Justice League series was like their own movie arcs in like 2 or 3 episodes each. Yep. And they were incredible.
And for those of you that are like me who do appreciate comic accuracy.
Is he like me?
Well, like, I not everybody's that way about the movie adaptations or the TV show adaptations of things. Whether, like, if you homage it. But for me, there's something for me because I started reading a lot more because I just loved the plots. And even if you're not into comics, read some of the famous arcs and really enjoy them because they're so good.
Oh, I got a topic.
Go for it.
Let's talk about like favorite comic book arcs of all time. Go.
Are we limited to a certain thing, just in general?
Well, let's just do DC Marvel right now.
Okay. You know, off the top of my head, Court of Owls is so good.
We're on the same page right now. I want to see a Court of Owls in DC adapted. I want to see Batman destroying the Talon and like after being lost in their underground
maze,
for however long, and he's like, "You're not special." That's my favorite part of that
like
series.
Alfred finding him underneath the manor when he goes like through the sewer.
It's terrifying. So that is some of the most atmospheric, like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's art, and I read through all of that. The run is incredible. I don't know if I finished. I don't know if they. I'm sure they did something past like the end game or whatever they called it, with like. I thought that was like my favorite Batman thing ever.
It was so good.
That's the only Batman thing.
Court of Owls is so good. I will say they did allude to it or put the Talon one in one of the Son of Batman films.
And dude, I'm not. Those are like not even like they tried to do the like what you're talking about like a homage thing. It's just
I don't remember.
So weaker than.
I will say those movies aren't terrible standalone films. I don't hate them. They're okay. You know, people talk about.
Give me Court of Owls.
Oh yeah, I want a full adaptation of it. It'd be so good.
Kevin Con. That's what I wanted the next Arkham game to be about.
And I think they talked about it.
There was definitely an allusion to it in like Night or something. But I mean, which good game.
Another one of my favorite arcs for sure are twofold because they roll straight into each other. Blackest Night and Brightest Day.
I've always wanted to read those. I've always wanted to read both DC and Marvel cosmic stuff, and I just never. So Annihilation.
So Blackest Night. I love Green Lantern, and I remember when my brother and I discovered that there were different Lantern Corps and things like that, and just blew my mind because, like, you know, Sinestro was the bad one, and he just had an A ring, but then he found
he's
it
not
as
really a bad guy.
And then he founds his own corps, and then it's like, oh no, there's like a whole spectrum of them, and then different corps have different emotions and different ring powers and all this, and like we just got so involved, and then it was like. You know, the famous thing where Batman gets killed by Darkseid's I-beams, his Omega beams, and he's assumed dead. And
isn't that like, that's another thing, right? That's like Final Crisis.
Well, so it takes place just after that.
Really?
So Barry Allen comes back from the dead.
I started the Grant Morrison Batman stuff, and I never got that far.
So, you know, Batman dies in some arc. I don't remember what it is.
Final Crisis, for sure.
He's killed by the Omega.
Comes after that.
He's killed by the Omega beams.
But he goes back in time.
So then there's a Flash arc, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically, it was a new resurgence for the Flash. And basically Barry Allen comes back out of the Speed Force. It turns out when he ran, which is a similar...
It's like Flashpoint.
It's another event to... It's a world-ending event. The World Eater thing. Annihilus, I think is his name, maybe? Anyway.
Annihilus is what I was talking about, Annihilation from Marvel. Mm-hmm. That stuff's lit.
It's a similar character to Annihilus, the something. Anyway, long story short, Barry Allen has to run, and he keeps running until he dies. But as
Oh
you
yeah,
later,
he's outrunning death or something like
Yeah.
stupid like that. It's not stupid, it's cool, but like
so Barry dies, but then he comes back, and then Hal dies, and he comes back, and so the premise of Blackest Night starts with the Black Hand, who's a kind of like a B-list Green Lantern villain, digging up Bruce Wayne's skull, and
yeah, it's like a zombie thing, right?
Yeah.
Necro or
yeah,
I don't-
Necron.
yeah, Necron.
Phenomenal. It's pretty gross in some spaces, but it's super intense. And for anybody that loves comic book history, it is just a who's who of DC Golden and Silver Age comic characters. Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, makes a big
Alan
appearance.
Scott's cool. I think
Phenomenal character.
I think he's really cool.
And every subsidiary of like DC heroes, the Justice League, the Justice Society of America.
It's definitely one of their biggest crossover things that isn't a crisis.
And it is a crisis of sorts.
Naming convention.
Yeah.
Bryson.
But man, it's so good. And it covers so many different things. And so like you'll think you can read the main storyline, but then there's like subsidiary comics
Dude, let me get the tie-ins though.
That touch on like specific characters, and it's pretty intense. Some of it, like it ties in stuff from arcs all over comic history that kind of pulls it all into one universe before the New 52 took a dump on everything we know and love.
Listen, some of the New 52 was okay.
No, some of it's okay, but
I actually really I was into the New 52. That's when I first started reading, and then I went back and I was like, oh wait, Post Crisis is what everyone knows and loves.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, swap out. Tell me a couple of your favorites.
Okay.
DC or Marvel. But I feel like we've been sticking with DC,
yeah.
But you know,
Marvel. I mean, I got the Ultimate Spider-Man. One of the novels.
Yeah. Gosh, so good.
Ultimate Spider-Man is the first comic book I've ever read. I was in like high school, and everything up to the point where, spoiler alert, for Ultimate Spider-Man, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, everything up to like where Peter Parker just dies is the most like.
Is that what leads up to Miles, right?
Yeah. So Miles comes afterwards, and
which I will.
It's still Brian Michael Bendis.
Phenomenal comics. I have a chunk of the Miles stuff.
And
really
see, like I didn't really go for it because the ending, they go for like almost 111 issues. Just the most the reimaginings of all the villains, everything is just so much.
The Goblin was insane.
The Ultimate Universe is so cool to me, and they just destroyed it with their first big crossover event. I mean, that's neither here nor there because Ultimate Spider-Man remains so consistent.
It is really good.
And even during like the big ultimatum thing, the best scene in that is when everything's being destroyed, yada yada yada, world-ending event. But it's like J. Jonah Jameson, he's in the Bugle trying to help people out, and there's just this big 2-cover page spread. It's the Daily Bugle's like half it, like submerged skyscraper. It's crazy, and you just see J. Jonah Jameson in his office like helping someone, and he looks out, and it's Spider-Man diving like 3 floors deep to go like save someone, and it's like the first time it clicked for him that he's a legit hero, and it was just like,
That's a really good one. I agree.
I'm gonna pull it up.
And Miles as well. Going into the Miles stuff is really, really good. Going to Marvel, Civil War, man.
Civil War was okay.
It's just so intense.
It's really weird looking back, but I agree. It is intense.
It's really intense because you don't ever, for me as a kid anyway, like reading comics, you don't ever think about the good guys fighting each other like that. Especially those good guys. Which, for those of you idiots that think that the movie did any justice to it, you're lying to yourselves.
That's harsh. I thought the movie was good.
It was not Civil War.
That's okay. See, it doesn't have to be. Oh, here's the spread. It's like, what an incredible panel. It's just his name. It's like that tie-in is him writing the article about like what happened, and it's
Peter or JJJ.
JJJ, and he's like, it just starts with "I saw a hero," and it's just him saving people. It's so good.
I loved, we could just gush on Spider-Man for days.
I'm a Spider-Man fanboy, dude. Do. That's why he's the best part of Civil War and everything that came out of it. That Back in Black. Oh my god.
I remember.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm a huge
Grim Hunt.
I also love a little less. I won't say like less known, but less popular generally for sure.
I know it in my head right now.
Do you?
It's gotta be Moon Knight, right?
No. It involves Spider Man. Though I do like Moon Knight. Which if Oscar Isaac is still set to play him,
That's
that'll be really good.
Awesome, dude. Moon Knight Blade, let's go.
But Spider Girl.
See, okay, like those came included in the means of how I obtained these comics back in the day. Those came in like some of the separate file packages. They were like Ultimate Spider-Man. It was a really good modernization.
I've got copies.
Really?
I've got physical copies.
I would love to read those because they were very hard to find because it's MC2.
So I don't.
MC2.
So a little random story for you guys about my life growing up. Sometimes I would just find some random, not popular, not finished series and fall so in love with it that I had to have everything involving it. There was a manga that ran for like 5 volumes called Beat the Vandal Buster that I loved with my whole heart. I read it in middle school, and I've never been able to find a physical copy of Volume 1 to go get. You can find it.
I'm going to find you this now.
You can find physical copies of other volumes at like McKay's and stuff, for those of you that know what that is. But just, man, so good. My brother and I got super into a series called Vermonia, which was a manga style thing.
I don't know that one.
It's a cool concept. I'll show it to you sometime. It's weird, but it's cool.
That's manga for you.
Then there was a vampire series that I can't remember the name of. With Deshwitat was the name of the.
I was going to say, what if by some fluke of nature?
Remember, I showed you those vampire ones. I bought those for my brother.
I was about to say, what if by some fluke of nature you read Hellsing just so long ago?
It was not Hellsing because I went back home and read them.
Hey,
I
look,
still have them.
Books a Million, Beat the Vandal Buster for $7.99
for Volume 1.
Yep,
there you go.
There you go, bud.
But they made like 5, 6 volumes. It really was not very widely published or anything like that.
They're up to Volume 15 now.
And Spider Girl was a similar find. I want to say it was at a McKay's or a random book sale or something like that, and you told me it's from Marvel too. Is that what you said?
MC2. So it started out in a what if, and it's a lot like Ultimate Spider-Man, where it wasn't as popular, but like it's such a cool concept.
Great concept.
They spun out
an alternate future.
Yeah, where it's his Peter Parker's daughter, and everybody loves the Spider-Man MJ like marriage, and then they just took a dump on it like. Yeah, from further than that, so it's like
we read it to a point. So to give a little explanation, I guess, phenomenal story.
Mayday Parker.
Mayday Parker. Yeah. So Peter is Spider-Man up to a point where he's injured and he actually loses a leg. And he retires. At that point from being Spider-Man.
Marvel Comics 2 is an imprint where it depicts an alternate future timeline.
And so Mayday Parker inherits his spider sense and all that, and eventually the Green Goblin resurfaces for the first time in years, but it's not. This is where it starts to get complicated already. It's not Harry or Norman. It's actually Normie, who is Harry's grandson.
Normies!
Who, like, is taking up the Goblin mantle and goes to attack the Parkers. Anyway, she discovers her dad's Spider-Man, decides to become Spider-Girl, and then chaos ensues. There's a guy called Dark Devil.
I was literally just pulled that up. I was going to say, Dark Devil. He's a human mutant demon. Mm-hmm. They really, like, okay, it was borderline fan fiction, but it was cool. He was like the edgy Sasuke
There
type.
was like later Avengers. There was later like Fantastic Four, X-Men. Like the kid of Wolverine. There's like 2 siblings that are the kids of Wolverine.
Electro's daughter.
Yeah.
J2 starring the Juggernaut's son, a heroic teenager.
Yep.
It's borderline fan fiction, but
it's weird, fun. Man. But it's super fun. Speedball comes back. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They tried to do something similar semi-recently during the last big Spider-Verse thing. This is like almost like 8 years ago now, where they brought back like a limited thing because everybody hated the new run because they ditched the Spider-Man MJ thing. He sold his marriage to the devil to save Aunt May's life after Civil War for no reason. Yeah, what?
Oh, House of M. That's another good one too.
I haven't read it all the way through.
Really good, really fun. But my brother and I were big Wolverine fans, so.
I will say Wolverine and Civil War. That was some gnarly stuff. Nitro, is that his name?
Yeah.
That is some gnarly stuff.
Wolverine's arc, man. That's one of the reasons I like Civil War is the small things that happened within it. So like the Civil War Fantastic Four or the Civil War X-Men. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Fantastic Four. Best moment of that because Spider-Man. Spider-Man finally coming to the good guys and punching that dick Mr. Fantastic in the face.
Yeah.
He's like, amazing, spectacular, bam. It's so good.
Yeah. It's a really intense arc. There's a lot of really dark things that happen in there.
They just make all the registration guys dicks, though. That's all they do.
Well, they do, but at the same time, I mean, the cloning Thor thing, killing Goliath, like...
Yeah, that was horrific.
It's pretty intense.
Now, I will say, the actual aftermath of... where, have you ever seen where Thor tracks down Iron Man after that?
I can't remember.
It's like... I'll show it to you later, because it's incredible. It's just a little couple of pages, and God, he beats the fuck out of him.
I will say... Also, we can't mention Civil War like this without bringing up the perfection that is Ultimate Alliance.
I was about to say that was the most exposure I had to it before I actually read comics. Which Ultimate Alliance, I think Ultimate Alliance brings that storyline up so much.
Well, they bring Penance and like they just kind of pull him out of nowhere and never really explain who he is, and then you read the comic and you're like, oh my god. That's the thing that I didn't understand was how deep it went with like I can't remember the name of that team, but the team that Speedball headed up.
It's the teenager, and God.
I really loved the Runaways.
The Runaways is lit. Okay, Runaways is one of those where I read for the first time along with Ultimate Spider-Man.
Really good read. Really cool, and at its time, kind of forward-thinking concepts.
I haven't seen the show.
It's bad.
Apparently,
it's really bad. It's like not as bad as Titans, but it's pretty bad.
Titans is getting a season 3.
I know, it makes me so sad.
It looks decent.
It's pretty bad.
You can say these things.
It's pretty bad.
You can say these things.
Speaking of Teen Titans, I want to say it was just called Teen Titans.
I never
Publication
read
in the mid 2010s. Phenomenal. Really, really good. Starts out with Superboy joining the Titans, and it's Tim Drake, Starfire.
Who's your best Robin? I can give you mine without a shadow of a doubt.
Let's go ahead and leave this open question real quick. If you have a favorite Robin, we're including the following in this. We're not including anyone else, okay? Cassie, spoiler, does not count.
From Dark Knight Returns?
Not Dark Knight Returns. Spoiler, like
Okay.
Tim's girlfriend.
Sure, whatever.
She doesn't count.
Carrie. Carrie's the one from Dark.
Sorry.
She's okay. I like
Carrie's
her.
cool.
Yeah.
So we have the first one, Dick Grayson,
Classic.
Jason Todd, Tim Drake. We've got Damian Wayne.
Damian's grown on me a lot.
I like Damian a lot.
Damian's like everybody hated him for so long.
Well, it's because he was supposed to.
Yeah, he's a dick.
We've got Damian. We've got Carrie
you.
from the Dark Knight Returns, which is a very specific Robin in a very specific universe with a very specific Batman.
It's very scary and uncomfortable.
It is.
In some ways.
Lots of uncomfy stuff in that.
It's
a good one.
That's a story right there.
It's craziness.
Just don't read past the first one.
So let's go ahead and weigh in our Robins.
Tim Drake.
It's a good one. I lean so hard on Dick Grayson.
But he's Nightwing. He gets to grow up.
I mean, he does. And I feel like Tim is the most complete Robin. But I also feel personally that Damian has had the longest time to grow as Robin.
Yeah, so it's like, why not give Tim an actual thing that they can let him grow into?
Well, he did Red Robin.
And then it never happened again. He's supposed to be like, he's legitimately the closest to Batman's smart.
Yeah, he's a genius.
So it's like, And there's that big scene in Red Robin where like Ray, he calls him detective, and it's just like, oh, because he's that guy.
Yeah.
So if anyone, he could be Batman after a certain point if Nightwing's still independent.
Well, yeah,
but
that's the thing. Like, Dick went on his own and became his own hero, and he had to.
No, his run as Batman was lit
with Damian.
That is some
Robin,
cool stuff.
Professor Pig, like it's pretty.
And
intense.
that was part of the lead up to what I was reading. I just never finished it.
Phenomenal. It does kind of tie into Court of Owls a little bit. I think Damian's kind of in it.
Yeah, actually, because I forgot that runs into it. Yeah, dude, I got so bogged down in all the tie-ins because Grant Morrison pulls everything from the Silver Age to the Golden Age.
I know, because he's a legit fan.
I mean, he's like what's the really colorful Batman that he ends up using to like psych out his own mind? And he's like, I am the Batman of Azure or something. Batman
Zur-En-Arrh. It's from Batman Rip.
Yeah.
He becomes the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. Well, because he also brings back Batmite.
Yeah, because he's insane. He's like, this is the only way my psyche's going to survive. And he's like,
he becomes...
let me pull something out from way back when.
And then it's actually Bruce being homeless on the street. He becomes kind of like a Rorschach kind of a thing.
Tim Drake.
I think Tim is a really good Robin. I feel like in ranking them, man, it's so hard because each Robin has fundamentally had a different storyline on purpose.
Yeah, but okay, here's my point of view.
Okay, go ahead.
Nightwing, Red Hood. The only toss-up is Damian and Tim, because they're Robin. Give Robin something that can stick in his own character, because he's the closest to Spider-Man. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man. I'm a slut for Spider-Man, apparently.
I think, man, it's really interesting you say that. But like the idea of Robin being his own thing, because it's
as we're so close.
Well, as the sidekick, you know.
I need to shit on him for Damian.
Which,
I mean, it's fine because Damian's cool.
But here's the thing: when Damian, I think, first was introduced, that's when Tim went to Titans. You need to read the Titans run with Tim because it is.
Where is that?
I sent you a frame of it where he says, "I lie to Batman."
Oh God!
It's so good. Also, Blackest Night. Is it Blackest Night? Captain Boomerang and Tim's dad.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That's a tough one.
The Crisis. That's part of the Crisis with the Flash villains, where they're on. That is some of the rawest stuff. They're
with Elongated Man and his wife and all that.
No,
Spectre.
This is like in Final Crisis. So let me tell you, we're so off topic. It's just like it's going off this whole like they're villains, they're goofy, and they're like Weatherman, Mm-hmm. Captain Boomerang, he's like, we're goofy, we do our thing, we get caught by the Flash, we go home. Mm-hmm. And then it's like they're put on another crisis event, world ending, and they start showing off what they can do, and they're just killing people left and right, villains, bad guys to survive. And then it's just like we do that because we know the Flash will kill us if we ever do this in this city or something like that. It's like super grim.
It's something similar to that, but here's what I remember. So Captain Boomerang discovers he has a son who has powers. Well, he knows he has a son. He had a kid with Golden Glider, and it was like this controversy in the tabloids. Captain Boomerang's kid has superpowers, but also has his dad's aim. And he's like trying to be his dad and all that. Mm-hmm. Well, the Calculator, who's another kind of D-list villain, is giving out contacts. He will like he's kind of like he's the oracle of the bad guys, kind of.
Oh yeah, Rogue's Revenge.
And it's not that though. It's
no, I know. I was just.
That is a great arc though.
That is incredible because I just remember Weather Wizard.
Yeah. So
through somebody's chest.
I remember. It's probably one of the most intense. I want to say this is during the whole Gene Loring, Elongated Man.
That's Identity Crisis.
Identity Crisis. It's in that whole
and
thing.
I never read that because that's very grim.
It's tough.
They go.
Tough. So
I don't think they didn't need to do that.
So, well, if you want to read it, I won't spoil what happens.
I know what happens.
But Captain Boomerang has an identity crisis, and yeah. And his son says something to him that makes him feel inferior. So he calls Calculator and says, I need one last job. And as it turns out, it's killing Tim Drake's dad.
I do. I know that panel because it just hurts.
And Tim has just had his own identity crisis as Robin because his dad saw him come home with a black eye and he freaked out and said, you're going to get killed. So he called Bruce and said he's not going to be Batman and Robin anymore. He's quitting. The day he's decided to do this, Captain Boomerang breaks into his house and Tim's gone. I think or maybe this is right before he gave up the cape. But Tim is not able to be there. He gets a call from his dad. Captain Boomerang is shot and killed, and Tim's dad is killed. And
Tim's dad has a gun, right?
Yeah,
he's
he found a gun.
Self-defense.
So they kill each other basically at the same time. Tim gets home, and Batman just kind of comes behind him and holds him, and it's this shot that's very similar to Bruce being held in the alley, and it just says you're an orphan too.
I got chills.
It's so good.
I know.
Yeah, Identity Crisis is probably one of the most consistently dark. It touches on some of the things that most people don't like to talk about.
But it's that is just Batman right there. That is that dark noir style of Gotham that just beyond crises and overwatching, because they get bogged down, but it's when those can escape and do something like that, because Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo run, it gets really bogged down by some of these events. The modern day events kind of suck.
I will say Identity Crisis was solid pretty through and through.
It's very thematic, right? Apparently, from what you're saying, all these identity crises.
Well, the fact that you don't realize that's what's happening until you get later. You don't think about it being an identity crisis for all these characters. And then here's what's insane though, is that filters in to Blackest Night. And so then...
Oh yeah, doesn't Tim's dad come back?
I don't think Tim's dad does, but Captain Boomerang does. He gets brought back to life in his golden age. And so he's skinny. In Identity Crisis, he's fat and he's ugly and he's in... For spoiler alerts, Blackest Day ends when they fight the entity of death is what it is. And they discover that there's a white lantern for life. So there's two new lantern corps, the black lantern corps, which is the representation of death, and the white lantern corps, which is the representation of life. All of these characters that were dead and have come back to life are part of the white lantern corps. So Batman, Superman, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, I think Aquaman, but then there's odd ones, Sinestro, Black Adam, and Captain Boomerang. And so it's really, it gets complicated and kind of weird if you're not really paying attention, but essentially there's a lot of people that die in Identity Crisis and stuff. Oh my god, dude. The references to Elongated Man and his wife and stuff, because Ray Palmer was their best friend, the Atom.
Yeah.
And they come back as Black Lanterns. The whole thing with the Black Lanterns is they're brought back if they torture you.
I just saw a panel from Rogue's Revenge. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Oh!
I need to really read it.
Tell the Flash we're even. The Rogues.
So
what a badass!
So the Black Lanterns come back as torture to you. Mm-hmm. So for Ray, it's Ralph and Sue.
Yeah. I remember that.
And they have come back and they kill Hawkman and Hawkgirl. They literally murder them. Hawkman and Hawkgirl get a call, and they are having flashbacks to all their reincarnations because that's the current time for them.
God, they're such a mess.
Yeah, I know. And Ralph and Sue have come back and they murder them, and then Hawkman is dead, and then he calls Ray and says, "Hey, come on through, buddy." And then and Ray gets so depressed by what happens that he shrinks down to the smallest size he's ever gone, and disappears from existence.
Sick. This is gonna be the one where we talk about comics for 8 hours.
It's okay.
Dude, comics are cool.
Yeah, and we've to be fair, we've not talked about stuff like this in a while.
Comics are cool.
For a while. For those of you that are saying that we're nerds and we suck, well, you suck. Haha.
I don't think people think that.
I think comics have become remarkably less uncool in recent years.
Oh, I remember the concept of this arc now. The one of the numerous Flash related like heroes. He's like the Barry of the year 3000 or something. He's like Kid Inertia.
Oh yeah.
They like team up with him. The Flash's rogues is what they call him. And
Inertia.
he ends up doing something really messed up. I don't remember what.
Inertia?
Yeah.
He kills Bart.
Yes. And so basically this is their like because you don't mess with the status quo in what city?
Keystone.
Yeah, Keystone. You don't mess with the status. And that's the entire like thing. It's just them doing the most raw stuff ever. He's like, Captain Cold has some revenge thing. It's like someone killed his dad. It's very similar.
Well,
he's like, I kill for revenge.
When Captain Boomerang gets killed, the rogues have a funeral for him, and it's Captain Cold, Weather Wizard, and they literally just kind of like show up and they have a smoke for him and they pour a shot or something. And
it's like the most mundanely real thing.
But
right?
it's like the rogue cemetery, and it was like nobody mourns a rogue because like when Barry Allen died, they put up an entire museum, and part of Barry's issue and him and Hal is Barry died and Barry doesn't think he deserved to come back, which is like why the Black Lanterns can torture him because he doesn't think he deserved it. Hal killed a bunch of people as Parallax.
I forgot that Inertia killed Bart.
Yeah, it's
that's what started all this
that's what kills Inertia is.
Because
the revenge.
And they beat his ass, and they just leave him in the street
to die.
I love it when you're like your antagonist and your protagonist have like this mutual thing going on. Because the Flash is so stupidly overpowered, and it's like.
But man, there's some really cool Flash arcs.
And his adversaries, if they're not a Flash, they're like seen as a joke, right? I mean, it's freaking Weather Wizard. Everyone thinks he's not cool until he puts a tornado into your chest.
Or like even
that was the big scene.
Or even like Captain Cold, he shoots a freeze gun like whoop-de-doo. But like, like Mirror Master had some cool stuff back in the day.
Apparently, the Joker calls Dr. Freeze a second-rate Captain Cold.
That's funny.
That's legit.
Captain Cold is supposedly like the best Cold villain.
Absolute zero. He's in Injustice now, right?
Mm-hmm.
See DLC. That's coming out soon.
There's a Flash arc. That's like the Flash family. It's similar to following what happened to Barry in coming out of the Speed Force, like being back to life. And they reintroduced some characters from way back in the day, which also tied into Blackest Night as well. That's one of the reasons I liked a lot of that era.
That era is incredible.
Everything actually is connected.
I wanted to read all of this. It's like Mark Waid, I think, is the creator.
I can't remember. But they bring back Max Mercury, who was like a mentor to Wally West.
I think that was it.
Wally and the kids developed their powers. No, it was later than that.
I mean, that was just like a homage. Like, this is more what it looks like.
A little bit. There's Liberty Bell. Max Mercury's there in the blue head outfit. There's the Reverse Flash, and then there's like Black Flash, which is a zombie. It's weird, but it's cool.
CW Flash.
Don't even get me started.
Don't get me started. I gotta say, I'm more of a Marvel fan, but like I can talk about DC all day because some of that stuff of that era is so ridiculously decent.
I'm just such a huge Batman fan.
I like to think I'm dumb and then I nerd out about the Scott Snyder stuff is so cool. So is the Grant Morrison stuff.
I really have trouble distinguishing whether I'm a bigger Marvel or DC fan because there are things in both of those universes that I love with my entire being. I feel like I'm probably a heavier DC comic fan, but I also really love Marvel. We got really into X-Men for a while.
X-Men Evolution.
The Wolverine like stuff. Man, he's just a never-ending source of good stuff. Spider-Man, massive Spider-Man fans.
That's the only thing that pushes me over the edge.
Okay. So let's talk about Spider-Man for a second.
You don't want that.
No. Okay. So let's talk Spider-Man villains. Because I know I talked about a Spider-Man villain that you didn't know, which blew my mind.
Who?
Will-O-the-Wisp.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that one.
Well, let's talk about Spider-Man villains. Let's talk about some of our favorite, not super recognized necessarily Spider-Man villains. Green Goblin's
Kraven.
I was gonna say Kraven's probably
okay.
Really
Grim
good.
Hunt is the sickest stuff.
Is that the one where he buries him?
Yes. That he just
yeah
punches through the grit. Oh my god!
Kraven's
But he's insane in that. That arc is scary. Nobody cares about Kraven really. He's just some random dude, right? But he's like, dude, He's scary in that arc. When he's like creeping around New York City after taking his costume and burying him alive, he looks insane.
Intense. His brother, Chameleon's a cool villain as well.
See, okay, Chameleon was in. I remember him from the '90s series, and he did nothing.
Chameleon,
but he was everywhere.
In the comics, he's really cool.
Now I will say, they did a follow-up to Grim Hunt in the early 2000s or late 2000s. As a part of that JMS, whatever his name is, run, I tried to start so many times, but my arachnophobia doesn't sit well with it. There's a lot of spiders in that. That's where
Madam Web isn't a villain, but she's a cool character.
Yeah, she is. But it's like, I don't remember, Grim Reunion or something, but it's like his whole family, and they're trying to bring him back to life.
Kraven?
Yeah, and they bring in like some of the other spider people, like Ben Reilly and
I thought he was dead already.
Kane. You remember Kane?
The clone.
They kill Ben Reilly in that one for sure. I think Jessica Drew's in it too. But it was just, those are some very dark arcs for Spider-Man. But it's where I like Spider-Man the most. When he's a young adult, not in college or high school, he was a teacher in those arcs. Not necessarily in the Grim Hunt. We don't know what he's doing. That was kind of a standalone. But it's like, I like him best when he's like a teacher at a community college or high school or something. Yeah. That's my Peter Parker for me. Married to MJ.
I like, Kraven's a really good one. You know, there was, Chameleon had some really cool arcs. And honestly, Scorpion did too. And then, Matt Gargan becomes Venom later on.
Rhino, okay, sorry. Grim Hunt is the 2009-2010 one. Kraven's Last Hunt is the 90s one that is crazy. Kraven's Last Hunt is scary. That's when he had the black suit, yeah. Oh, 87, sorry. Wow. That is so... It's a very, like, edgy and dark comic arc that I would have totally expected to see in the 90s and not 87. Yeah. It's so cool. Okay, Rhino. There's in the prelude to Grim Hunt, they did a Flowers for Algernon. I don't know if I say that right. You know what I'm talking about?
Not off the top of my
head. It's a classic short story about a disabled man testing a new drug that makes him smarter and smarter to the point where he can realize the drug is wearing off. And it's very heartbreaking. But
so it's like Limitless.
Sure. But it's like his best friend is the lab rat named Algernon. And the most heartbreaking scene is when he realizes he's never going to be this smart again and he's just going to go back to how he was. They did that, but with the Rhino. It sounds stupid, but it is genuinely one of the most heartbreaking things I have ever seen. Because he's turning his life around. He's not being this massive, brute, awful person. He finally gets out of the suit. He gets a stable household, and then he just goes back to doing crime. And then the gauntlet.
Whoa!
What's up?
I was looking up a list of Spider-Man enemies, and this picture on Wikipedia comes up. And if you tap their face in this picture, it'll pull up their Wikipedia article.
That's pretty neat.
I was just trying to go through a list.
Oh yeah, it's literally called Flowers for Rhino.
That's cool. So you've got different themes for his villains. That's actually very true. So you've got animal-based villains. Doc Ock, Vulture, Lizard, Rhino, Scorpion, Jackal, Beetle, Kangaroo, Tarantula, and the Puma.
You said Doc Ock, and now I have to bring up Superior Spider-Man.
I agree.
That is... Enough said.
Puma's kind of cool.
I don't know that one.
He's actually sort of brought in later. He's kind of a Spider-Girl concept, too, who's one of Wolverine's kids. His design is basically Puma. Then you've got the elements, Sandman, Electro, Hydro Man. Then you've got the Spookies, Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, which I remember the whole thing about who was the Hobgoblin.
And it's like, whoever it was lame.
Morbius and then Morlun.
Morbius scared me as a kid.
So there's Morbius as the vampire, and then there's Morlun, who is another...
Morlun is crazy. That's that JMS Straczynski. He is scary.
Straczynski, is that what you're saying?
Dude, he beats the snot out of him in that.
Morlun's so cool.
I remember, that is one of the, per usual, my favorite arcs in Spider-Man is him getting absolutely destroyed, but still getting back up. Because you know what? That's what heroes do. Yeah. I remember he got punched through a building, and he's like, I could feel every rib is caving in. But then he's like, he sees a kid or something about.
Well, he knows he's gonna die.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, gotta get back up. I was like,
yeah, and Moreland, I think Moreland ends up respecting him in the end.
I mean, he's still gonna like eat him. Yeah. That's like
and then you've got the mobs. You've got Kingpin.
Kingpin's cool.
You've got Tombstone. You've got let me look at the list. Oh, Hammerhead.
Hammerhead. What a weird
guy, but like in the comics, he's legit.
Tombstone's legit.
Tombstone's cool. Then you've got Silvermane. He's kind of whatever. And Mr. Negative, of course, who was brought back into the light with
They did good by him.
With the Spider-Man game.
They did really good by him in that one.
Yeah, and then you've got Chameleon and Mysteria.
Shocker!
And then the Shocker.
The Shocker!
And then you've got the people that are kind of
the
anti-heroes.
Quiltmen.
You got anti-heroes.
Oh,
You've got,
I gotta hear that again.
You've got Black Cat.
Yeah.
You've got the Prowler. You've got Silver Sable.
Silver Sable's hot.
And Morbius kind of is back and forth.
There's a movie with him coming out. I cannot wait. Morbius starring Jared Leto.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
I'm ready for Venom.
The one with Woody Harrelson?
Yeah. There's an amazing scene in the first Spider-Man game for GameCube where you're fighting the Shocker. And he just says something really lame, and he's like, I don't know why it made me laugh so hard as a kid, but he's like, oh look, it's the amazing Quilt Man. Shocker's like,
You've got Carnage, who is pretty cool.
Carnage and Venom, man, the symbiotes. I don't like any of the other symbiotes, really.
Morbius is a cool one. Moreland is super creepy. Electro had some cool stuff. But what's funny about Spider-Man in particular is how he always ends up coming back to the Goblin. Anyway, we probably should get off this topic of comics before we never stop.
The Shocker. Oh, the villains. One last thing. This is very humorous. It's like the villains run where it's like Shocker. It's a whole bunch of like, it's kind of like Suicide Squad, but they're like banding together, and it's really funny.
Well, the Sinister Six is like a cool thing.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's really funny.
Well, I feel like that's
it's a good stopping point.
Well, we're getting close for sure. We can start wrapping it up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to transition out,
Superior Foes of Spider-Man. That's it. That was a really funny arc.
I feel like we've covered some cool stuff. You know, we did our current event thing, and I think this is kind of what we can try and lean into for the future, kind of having a current event, something to tie into. Okay. Something to tie into what we're kind of looking into at the time, and then maybe just a topic in general and try and follow that and see where it goes. We're going to try and keep this somewhere between an hour and a half at most for the episodes. I can't guarantee it'll be a ton of super heavy editing like I used to do with it, just because I don't want to lose a lot of the flow of the conversation to weird editing and stuff, but we'll see how it ends up coming out. We're going to be doing this weekly. I don't know what the turnaround between recording and release will be. I don't have a job right now that's regular.
Woo!
So it's possible it'll be really quick turnarounds. It all depends on also our recording schedule. So
maybe I could learn editing. We'll figure it out.
I mean, I could show you how. It's not
oh, big news! I found an apartment.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say.
Holy crap!
You know, we touched on the fact that we're separating in living spaces, but what exactly does that mean? So I will be going back home to my parents' house, which is literally a nightmare situation.
Oh boy!
And not
okay,
literally. Not
I was
literally
in the same boat.
Not literally a nightmare, but I'm a musician who just finished college and is now moving back in with my parents for the moment, and that's like
could be a really good indie film.
It's just the premise of every liberal arts kid who comes back from college who wasted his time and money on a degree.
Yeah, and
I didn't waste my time. I didn't waste my money and time on a degree. But anyway, I am moving home for a little bit, so I'll be with my parents and my brother. But I also came to realize in the last year and a half that for 4 years I have consistently been away from home and from my family, and I've got family members that are getting older, and I realized that I need to spend time with them and to be with them and to make those memories while I can.
Attaboy.
So as to not regret my life later on.
There you go. No regrets.
But that also means that you need a place to live. And as of today...
Oh, God. It was stressful, let me tell y'all.
But as of today, you have a new place.
I got approved.
You have a place. It's out in... it's not super far from here in Cleveland.
It's about 30 minutes, 40 minutes away. It's in chat.
And
I'm going to dox myself a little bit.
So for me to drive from Knoxville, it's 2 hours, which is not bad at all.
It's very close to where I used to live. I'm very excited about
And
that.
if I'm playing in chat, I mean, I can just come over and spend the night and we'll just hang.
Exactly. Same bed and everything. Whoa.
Well, I mean...
That's a joke, you heterosexual haters.
So, new life situation, but it's exciting and life moves on. I'm
very excited.
To those of you who are listening, I'm not sure who this is, but you know, if you're a friend of mine or Zach's, we love you. We're super excited for this next phase of life. It has been a really... I'm going to try and say this without getting emotional. It has been a very fun 4 years at Lee and in Cleveland, Tennessee.
It's been life enhancing.
And I will never, ever take these years for granted. I already miss them in a way. To you guys who are already scattered to the four corners of the planet, Aiden, Cecilia, Megan, Hannah, Sam, Joe,
Seth.
To Seth, I love you all, and I doubt you're even listening to this because I don't tell anybody we do this.
Listen, my heart is going out to them. They'll know. They can feel it. They can feel me inside them.
And we'll be back together soon enough. But I love you all. To my Singers fam, I love you guys. To the boys, Caleb, Aaron, all you guys. Caleb, Aaron, Seth, Dennis, Luke, Lee, Bill, I love you.
I love you.
And to my family, whoever's listening to this, God help them.
No, none of my family's gonna be listening.
To my little brother, who's probably the only one that will listen to this podcast.
Attaboy, Zachary. That's a kid right there.
I'm excited to be home with you, buddy. And it's a new phase of life, but we go into it excited.
I'm very excited. I'm gonna miss all of this, but it's been a very good formation.
Yeah.
And growth and life experience and all that good stuff.
For sure.
I'm not even working in fast food anymore. That's a shocker.
Yeah. I guess we could update on that too.
I got a new job.
Our boy made it out of fast foods alive somehow.
I sit down for my job.
That's
about as far as I'm gonna go on that. But
you were able to go out there and get a new job.
There's hope.
There is.
Somehow.
Now we need that hope to transfer over to this guy.
I have a great hope.
I'm going to try and come up with some sort of consistent ending from here on so we can kind of do things consistently. So
Don't turn the music!
Let me spitball this. And we'll see.
I hate you.
I'm a musician and I try to do it
Nope.
Let me try it again.
Nope.
I am an amateur musician and I have music out there. If you want to listen to it, you can just search up my name, Bryson Maggard. It's out there on all the platforms. You can stream Not Going Anywhere and hopefully another song within the next... Maybe eventually. And within the next year or so, I also have live footage out on my YouTube channel. If you want to, you can follow me on all my socials. I post semi-often. If you want to follow our boy, he's probably most active on Twitter.
Yeah, you can see what I retweet in my trash takes on through my likes.
Or
I don't do social media.
Or hopefully within the next few months he'll be starting a streaming on Twitch. We'll give those handles out in other episodes. We love you guys. Thank you for listening.
God bless.
This has been H.L.A.P.
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 H.L.P.
H.L.A.P.
It's not a disease.
It's
Cut.
Not. Thank you guys for listening. And we will see you. What are you?
Give him a little kiss.
We will see you all next time. Have a blessed day.